We're about to get into a case that really is the definition of a cold case paradox. It's a mystery built on meticulous planning that leads to, well, just a complete and inexplicable vanishing. We're talking about the disappearance of Andrew Gosden. It's a story that has haunted the UK for nearly 2 decades now, where every single choice he made seems almost designed to prevent any kind of resolution.
It really is the ultimate vanishing act, and it's because the person at the center of it, Andrew, was, completely the opposite of a typical runaway.
Right.
He was just 14 years old back in September 2007, an incredibly bright, prize-winning mathematician from Doncaster, known for his 100% school attendance record.
100%.
Yeah, he was quiet, a deep thinker, and by all accounts, just completely set on this academic path.
And the beginning of it all is just so tragically normal. It's September 14th. He leaves his house around 8:05 in the morning. Looks like he's heading for the bus stop. He says, "See you later, Dad." And those were the last words his father, Kevin Gosden, ever heard from his son. What happens next is just this tight, controlled series of decisions that leads him straight into the heart of London. And then nothing.
And that's the devastating part. It isn't just the loss. It's the unending uncertainty. As his father has said over and over, having absolutely no idea what happened is, and this is his quote, even worse than knowing for sure.
It's a kind of limbo.
It's a paralyzing emotional limbo. And that lack of closure, is the engine that's still driving this entire mystery nearly 2 decades on.
So to even begin to understand this, we have to look at who Andrew was, because his personality is in such stark contrast to his final actions.
Exactly. He was described as a home bird, a deep thinker, not moody or rebellious. I mean, he found school a bit unstimulating, sure, but he definitely wasn't some kid plotting a dramatic escape.
And physically, if you were going to try and survive on the streets, he was not equipped.
Not at all. He looked much younger than 14, maybe closer to 12. He wore these very strong prescription glasses, so he was instantly recognizable. And he had a couple other unique features. He was deaf in his left ear and had this distinctive double ridge on his right ear.
He just wasn't streetwise?
No, he wasn't built, mentally or physically, to just fade into a huge city like London.
Which makes what he did that morning so chillingly deliberate. He leaves the house, but instead of getting on the bus, he just pivots. He walks straight to a cash machine.
And this is our first huge clue that this was planned. He goes to his bank account and withdraws £200.
The maximum amount, right?
The maximum daily limit, yeah. In 20-pound notes. His account had about £214 in it. But here's the really critical detail. He left behind about £100 of birthday money his grandparents had given him.
Wait, so if you're just running away to have fun or something, why wouldn't you take every penny you have?
Precisely. That's the question. If this was about money, you'd take it all. The fact he took the disposable cash, but left the money that had emotional value, it suggests he was deliberately cutting ties.
Wow.
This wasn't an impulse trip. It was like he was severing the sentimental connections before he even started the journey.
Okay, and the next steps just prove how thought out this was. He goes back home. A neighbor's CCTV even catches him returning.
Right, while the family was out. And he performs this careful ritual of, erasure. He changes out of his school uniform.
He doesn't just throw it on the floor.
No, he puts it right in the washing machine. His blazer is folded neatly over a chair. He's literally cleaning the slate. Then he changes into black jeans, trainers, and a black T-shirt with the logo of the metal band Slipknot on it.
And what he takes versus what he leaves behind, it's such a contradiction.
It is. He takes his wallet, his keys, and a PlayStation Portable, a PSP. But he very pointedly leaves its charger behind. He leaves his coat, and he leaves his passport.
The charger is a big one for me. No charger for the PSP screams this is a short-term thing. A day trip, maybe?
It's just a very short timeline, yes. No coat, no charger. But leaving the passport. That's the one thing you'd need for a real long-term escape. It's the ultimate paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
Meticulous preparation for leaving, but zero preparation for surviving.
And that contradiction, it just gets deeper when he gets to the train station.
Okay.
He walks from his house to Doncaster station, goes up to the ticket counter, and this interaction gives us probably the single most important piece of evidence in the whole case.
The ticket. He asks for a single one-way ticket to London King's Cross. It cost £31.40, and the ticket seller remembered him clearly.
Why?
Because he offered Andrew a return ticket, and it only cost 50 pence more. Andrew refused it.
50 pence. He actively chose not to have a way back.
He consciously decided there would be no return journey that day, It just cements the idea that his intention was, well, final, whatever final meant to him.
So he gets on the train at 9:35 a.m., and at 11:25 a.m., he arrives at King's Cross.
And that is where the trail just goes cold. He's captured on CCTV, leaving the main entrance of the station. He steps out onto the pavement, and he's gone. He just vanishes into the London crowd. That grainy image is the last confirmed sighting of Andrew Gosden.
The family only found out he was missing that evening, around 7 o'clock, when he didn't show up for dinner.
In their panic, their absolute terror just ran straight into what you could call devastating police bureaucracy. Some really crucial missteps were made right at the start.
The family has been very critical of this, haven't they?
They have, and they believe it crippled the investigation. For one, South Yorkshire Police, the local force, spent critical early hours treating Andrew's father, Kevin, as a potential suspect.
So they were looking at the family instead of looking for Andrew.
Exactly.
Yep.
It delayed the search trajectory right away. But the biggest failure was the CCTV at King's Cross.
What happened there?
South Yorkshire Police asked British Transport Police, the BTP, to check the footage within 2 days. But BTP couldn't find him in the initial review. There were just so many people.
I can imagine.
This is a classic and tragic issue with different police forces trying to work together. It took 3 weeks, 3 agonizing weeks, for the local police to send one of their own officers down to London to help. And only then was Andrew finally identified on that footage.
3 weeks. In a missing person case, that's an eternity. Any trail he might have left on, say, the tube or a bus, that footage would have been long gone, overwritten.
Completely gone. And on top of that, the investigation was so focused on the idea that he'd gone to meet an online predator.
Which is standard procedure, I guess.
It is, but with Andrew, it was an immediate dead end that just cost them more time.
Right, the digital blackout. In 2007, it was already pretty unusual for a teenager to have almost no online footprint.
Almost total. No email address, no online accounts on his Xbox, even that PSP he took with him. Sony confirmed it had never once been connected to the internet. Forensic searches of school and library computers turned up nothing.
So his planning, whatever it was, had to be entirely in the real world, no digital trail to follow.
Which just underscores how private and how focused his plan truly was.
So if it wasn't someone he met online, what was pulling him to London? And this brings us to the biggest theory, the music scene. That Slipknot shirt has to be a clue.
It's the most persistent theory for sure, the gig theory. Investigators looked at all the bands playing in London that night. 30 Seconds to Mars was one. But the most plausible candidate was a band called Sick.
Sick.
Yeah, they were playing a rescheduled farewell show at the Carling Academy in Islington, which is actually pretty close to King's Cross.
And it was walking distance from the station. The Slipknot connection is that some of the Sixth members had links to that band. So police appealed to anyone who went to that concert, hoping Andrew might be in the background of a photo or a video.
But the theory have problems. There's no hard evidence he was even a Sixth fan, and trying to buy a ticket on the day would have been a big risk for a kid who planned everything else so carefully.
And the timing is off.
The timing's very off.
Yeah.
He arrived at 11:25 in the morning. A gig like that wouldn't start for hours. So what did he do for all that time, alone in central London?
It's during that period, that vulnerable window, that we get the most credible, though still unconfirmed, sighting.
The Pizza Hut on Oxford Street. His father believes that one is the most plausible. And crucially, it placed him heading in the general direction of the River Thames.
There were others, though, right? Phantom sightings.
Oh, yes. A boy sleeping in a park a few days later. One seen at a station wearing warmer clothes. A woman in Covent Garden spoke to a boy who looked just like him, but he denied it. The trail was already built on just whispers and guesswork.
And then, years later, the whole case takes this really dramatic turn, suggesting the police never really ruled out something more sinister.
That's right. In December 2021, police arrested 2 men in London, aged 38 and 45.
On suspicion of what?
Kidnapping and human trafficking. It came from an anonymous tip-off, and it showed the investigation had really broadened into the idea of criminal exploitation.
That must have been a huge moment for the family. A sudden blast of hope, maybe.
A huge development. But what's interesting is how long the police spent analyzing the electronic devices they seized from these men. It wasn't until September 2023, almost 2 years later, that they announced the outcome.
Yeah.
Both men were released without charge. The police statement was emphatic. They were confident the 2 men arrested played no part in Andrew's disappearance. So that chapter just closed, forcing the focus right back onto Andrew himself.
So if it wasn't a gig, and after all that, it wasn't foul play,
Hmm.
Then we're left with the darkest possibility of all, the theory of a quiet exit.
That Andrew ran away with the intention of ending his life, but doing it in a way that left absolutely no trace. Ultimate concealment.
And this theory, as awful as it is, it kind of provides a framework for all the contradictions, doesn't it?
It does. It
Yeah.
suggests that this gifted, deep-thinking kid might have experienced a kind of existential depression where the goal was simply to disappear. The theory argues that leaving no trace, no body, no note, was seen by him as a kind of kindness to his family,
A kindness. How?
by giving them perpetual, agonizing hope instead of the brutal finality of death.
And the physical evidence lines up with that tragic idea. The one-way ticket, refusing to take a coat, the choice of total concealment. And if that Pizza Hut sighting was real, him walking towards the Thames.
The geography becomes critical. Andrew disappeared during the spring tides. Those are the strongest tidal flows of the year. A body entering the Thames at that time could easily be carried out to sea and never, ever be found.
The family even did a private sonar search of the river, didn't they?
They did, in 2011. It was heartbreaking. They found another body, but it wasn't Andrew.
It just brings us back to that central, unsolvable conflict. His actions were so planned, the money, washing the uniform, the ticket. But the lack of planning for survival points to this desperate, short-term goal. It's a perfect mix of control and contradiction.
And the fight against time is still going on, but technology is starting to offer some new hope. We still see the age progression photos, of course, showing what he might look like at 32, maybe without glasses.
But there's more now, isn't there, with AI?
Yes, standard facial recognition really struggles with faces that have aged a decade or more. But new AI systems, things with names like transformer-based auxiliary loss, are being designed specifically to map how faces change over long periods.
So it's a real tool.
It's a genuinely useful new tool for cases just like this, where a person's appearance is now just total speculation. It shows how these tragedies, in a way, push technology forward.
It does, and yet, after all the planning, all the meticulous choices Andrew made that morning, we know he took his house key with him when he left. And to this day, his family has never changed the locks.
So if every piece of evidence really does point to this intentional act of disappearing forever, here's the thought I want to leave you with. Why would Andrew, the deep thinker, the home bird who loved his family, choose to inflict this specific, endless agony on them, this state of hopeful uncertainty? Did he truly understand the consequences of leaving no trace? Or was the need to exit just so powerful that it overshadowed the pain he would leave behind?